The hype for the legendary staff is real, and if like me this week you completed the quest where you've got your 25 Eternal Embers and your 3 Sands of Time, then the next step is to go over to Scottejaye and do some RP. Once you're over there, you're going to be sent into the Nexus for a quest called Through a Glass Darkly. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because A, I think it's a little bit bugged. In fact, I know it's a little bit bugged. And B, it's not actually the easiest thing in the world to do when you're rocking around 372 eye level. So just so you get no surprises, I just want to talk through exactly what you should be doing in here. We'll skip past the really easy bits because honestly, some of it is quite obvious, but this actually took me quite a few attempts and hopefully it gets fixed before you're doing it. But if it's not, you've just got to persevere. It's not bugged completely. It just seems sometimes bits of it work and sometimes bits of it don't. First of all, you're going to walk in and you're going to be greeted by Cataclysm. Now, you're just going to follow her around and, to be honest, not a lot happens. When you get to the first things that you need to kill, it's best just to kill the little hounds and leave the big one on Cataclysm. The hounds are pretty much the same as they are in Nexus. They silence, which is incredibly irritating, but the big one actually hits quite hard. The erupting ice, you're going to want to either interrupt or make sure you move out of the circle on the floor before it goes off. And if you can dispel magic from a target with a purge or a dispel magic as a priest, it's always worth getting rid of that as well. You're going to go through some smoky traps, which obviously just don't get hit by those. It's exactly the same as what you would have seen in Icecrown Citadel after Deathbringer Sarfang. And then you're going to have another big one and 2 hounds to kill. Again, just make sure you're moving out of the ice circles or interrupting it, purging it, and killing the dogs first so you're not constantly getting silenced. You'll then get a little bit of RP and you're going to get frozen, but you don't need to deal with the Nexus Wardens. And then it's off through a little mini gauntlet once you've killed a few more hounds. These hounds can be quite annoying because there is 3 of them, and unless you've got like a knockback or you're going to kite them or something, you do find yourself silenced more often than not. So if you've got some sort of self-heal, just make sure you're using it or just kite them as best you can. Basically, just don't be stood near them like I am. Next, you're going to just make your way through a gauntlet. There's not really a lot to do here. They've got less than 4k health, so if you've got any form of decent AoE, you can literally AoE or just cleave your way through them. Next, you'll just have one more Sentinel to kill, but this one don't even start on full health because Cataclysm has been fighting him before you even get here. At the moment, you're probably like, what's the point in this video? Bear with me because the next bit is what really irritated me. Cataclysm is going to start breaking down the ice wall that's just in the distance there, and while that's happening, you're just going to kill this mini boss, which, to be fair, don't really do a great deal. Just nuke it down. Once this ice wall shatters, this is where the problems start. You've got to jump on this first disc, and then basically the aim is to kill each of these and jump on their platform, and then 2 little adds will spawn with new discs that you then use to basically traverse your way from where the ice wall came down to the other side to where you're going to kill the boss. The thing is, there's certain aspects of this that just didn't work. The first time I jumped on the disc, I literally fell through it straight to the floor and I didn't even take falling damage, but there was no disc to actually get back up on, so the only way out was to Hearthstone. Another minor problem with this, as you'll notice, is if you don't use some sort of add-on for your unit frames, you can't actually see your own health unless you're looking at your health from target of target. Now, the best thing to do with this really is just set yourself as focus so you can see there where I've actually got my unit frame back so I can keep an eye on my health. What you'll also notice is I've got a green orb around me at this moment in time. Now, I actually wiped on this attempt, or died, not wiped because it was only me on my own, but I died on this attempt because when I was on the very last disc, it fell to the floor. But the reason I wanted to show you this one in particular is because these may seem a lot harder than they are, but if you saw that green shield that's around me now, that reduces magic damage and restores mana. You see the orbs that are around the platforms? There's 4 of these charges per platform, so it makes it very easy if you can actually interact with these orbs. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, I couldn't. In fact, when I done the successful run, which is the one you're watching now, I couldn't click on a single orb in the entire room, which actually, without heals, makes this incredibly challenging. So what I found worked out best was, of course, jumping on the first disc because you've got no choice, killing the first Rift Weaver that's here, making sure you interrupt it as best you can. You can even see me there trying to click on some of the orbs, and they definitely are not working. And then standing on that platform and killing anything that's in range before jumping on another one. As you get near each one, it will aggro, so it's best to jump off early like I did there. Ignore the 2 small ones while you just finish the big one off, and like you can see, I'm almost dead. Not being able to click those orbs is very punishing, but the NA servers have just gone down now, so maybe they're applying a hotfix, so it will be kind of irrelevant by the time the servers go up and you get to this stage, but More to the point is just those orbs on those platforms, you can keep that buff up pretty much all the time because there's 4 on each one. I just kill the big one and then the 2 little ones, and then basically kill anything that's in range without having to change platform. Now this is actually for 2 reasons. I didn't want to risk using too many discs and getting on a dodgy one and me falling to my death. And quite honestly, without being able to click on those orbs, I didn't want too many of these big ones targeting me at the same time. So I think I only stopped at 2 of these big platforms in total. And then once I kill this last mob that you can see me fighting now, I'm going to kill the 2 small ones and make my way onto the final platform before the real fun begins. I say the real fun because that bit was awful, and that was because it wasn't working properly. That's why it was awful. But the last boss is actually quite challenging. So once you're hovering over the last one where you've actually got the proper platform below you, you're going to kill it, you're going to drop down, heal yourself up, eat, drink, do whatever you need, because you're going to want full health and full mana for what's about to come next. You're going to have a couple of small ones to deal with. They are quite annoying, they counter spell, they do a fire nova, and in general they actually just do a lot of damage. But once these 2 are dead, once again you're going to want to get full health and full mana, and you're going to head up to the last boss. Now I've got to be honest, without self heals, I think this last boss is probably pretty difficult in this gear level, and I'm actually talented to take 12% less damage all the time and 10% less damage when I'm casting, and it still pretty much hit me like a truck. But the basics of the boss is you want to kill it, interrupt it as often as you can, and you want to dispel the buff that it's got on it where it regenerates. It's very obvious when it needs dispelling because it'll have a big purple bubble around it. The other thing is Twisting Twilight. This is quite simply a beam that follows you and you want to run away and not get hit by it because, again, this hits really, really hard. So the bolts that are hitting you all the time from the boss do moderate damage. That Twisting Twilight is absolutely deadly. Now you can see the bubble around the boss again, so it needs to be purged or dispelled, or if you're a mage, obviously spell still. Occasionally you're going to get these little ads come in as well, and again, just like you would expect, these ads also hit really hard. The Fire Nova in particular, so if you can keep them away from you, or kite them, or CC them, whatever you need to do, just don't get hit by them, especially if you've got no self-heal. But really, you're then just doing that till the end. You can see the bubbles on again, so I'm going to purge. I'm going to have to heal myself quite a lot. I'm going to have to make sure I'm interrupting on cooldown. And I would definitely recommend making sure that you've got your 5-second interrupt cooldown as a shaman, which I currently don't have purely because I'm like in a rag spec, as in a rag heroic sort of progress spec, if you like. But if I was in my normal spec, actually, it would be doing a lot less damage because I'll be able to interrupt it far more often. But for those casters that haven't got a choice to have such a short interrupt like an Ellie Shaman, I do feel sorry for you a little bit. But again, it's now just rinse and repeat. Dispel the bubble, move from the beam, kill the ads when they come in, and interrupt and heal. Just do all of the things so you don't die. When it's finished, you're going to get a cutscene, which I'm not going to spoil because, you know, it'll be quite fun for you to see it the first time when you're actually doing the staff quest. Then you're going to get sent over to Hyjal, and then you're on the bit now where you need to get the crystals, like the charged crystals from inside Firelands, to open the portal to get the branch, and then you get your first staff. But this quest, I've got to be honest with you, I don't think it's easy. And if you do, if you've done it already, like you've done it this morning or last night or whatever, this reset, and you've got all your embers, and you thought it was really easy, and I was just unlucky and was in a very, very buggy instance, then obviously let me know in the comments. But I think I died 6 or 7 times, and I would say maybe 1 or 2 of those was just bad play by me. The others was like falling from the sky and then being stuck down the bottom, or just not being able to use the shield, which, you know, that makes a big difference. To get through that sort of fly-in area and not being able to click those shields is pretty dire. But anyway, again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.